Hey guys, how's it going? So today I am going to do a first impression let's play review of a game called Incremental Factory. Yes, Incremental Factory. Now I've already played a little bit of the game. Normally I would obviously do a first impression review of a game. Well, I would say most of my reviews are first impression reviews, but today I won't be doing a first impression review since I already have played about, I would say, maybe 2 hours or so of the game. So I've pretty much already made my mind up about the game, to be honest. I've already pretty much drawn my conclusion on the game. So honestly, if you want to know what I think about the game, I like the game. I mean, I'm not going to waste your time and tell you that you have to stick around till the end of the video to hear my opinion. Like, obviously, I'm not that kind of person. I'm just going to tell you I like the game and I would recommend the game. Now, for those of you who would actually like to know why I would recommend a game that looks like this, it really looks strange. It's not your average idler game. It is a very, very, very minimalist type game. For those of you who would like to know why I would recommend the game, then you can just stay tuned and I will be explaining during the next hour or so why I would recommend the game. So, first off, the game is still in early access, so anything that I show you here today could probably change, it could improve, it could become worse. The game is still in early access, so if anything can still change. And the game is $9, I think, but the developers did send me a code for the game. I probably would not have checked out the game if the developers didn't send me a code for the game, to be completely honest with you, because yeah, it's not a very beautiful game. Not that I only play beautiful games, but it's just really a game that doesn't draw your attention, to be honest, just due to the very, very minimalist graphics of the game. And so it's probably not a game that I would have purchased out of my own. So the fact that the developer sent me a code for the game really benefits them, because, like, honestly, I would not have, like, this game would never have come onto my radar if the developers didn't reach out and send me a code for the game. So anyway, the developer sent me a code for the game. The game is $9. It is still in early access. The game also doesn't have music. Like, if you're wondering why it's so quiet, the game doesn't have music at all. Like, there's literally no music in the game. If you go over here, and like, the options are very, very, very basic. You cannot set your resolution. There's no sound options at all. You cannot change the graphics of the game at all. You cannot change any of the buttons, even though I don't think the game even has buttons. Like, honestly, there's no buttons in the game, to be honest. Like, there's some stuff, like, if you want to select multiple modules or buildings, I guess I can say, then you press what was it, Alt, Shift, what was it again? Oh, now I've forgotten what it was. See, Shift. Okay, Shift. So you press and hold Shift, and then you can select a bunch of buildings, and then over here you can do various stuff like align them. You can also press Control C, so Control C on your keyboard, to copy a bunch of buildings. So now I copied all of these buildings, and then you can press Control V to paste those buildings that you've selected. So the game has literal copy and paste, and you can also do importing blueprints, even though I don't know how to do that. But yeah, like, these very, very few options that you have, that like Shift and Control and those kinds of things. You cannot change that at all. So you cannot rebind the keys on the keyboard at all. So that is a little bit of a letdown, to be honest. And then, like I said, you cannot change any other options. Really, the only option that you can change is full screen. So you can either play in a window or you can play in full screen. So the game is very, 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 very basic. By the way, while we're talking about music, I'm just going to play some music in the background because honestly, I'm sure you guys don't want to just hear me babbling on constantly without any background music. So let's just put some background music on. I'm just going to choose some cyberpunk music because I actually like the cyberpunk soundtrack and it is copyright free. So yeah, I'm going to just play some cyberpunk music in the background. Not too loud, hopefully, just very, very background, you know, background-ish, basically. So anyway, like I already said, honestly, my opinion of the game is that I can recommend the game. I actually like the game. I haven't played a huge amount of idler games. I mean, we can quickly have a look here at my my Steam library, actually. Let me pull my Steam library up here quickly for you guys. Just 1 second. And no, that's too big. Let's make it like this, I think. Yeah, that's better. So if you quickly look at my Steam library and then we go to idler, then we can see I have a couple. I didn't like Widget Inc. I recently played Widget Inc. I didn't like Widget Inc. I actually finished the game, but I didn't like Widget Inc. So I would not recommend that game. Incremental Town RPG is another game that I recently played, and I would not recommend that game. I wonder why it isn't in my library anymore. That's weird. It should be in my library. I need to investigate why that isn't in my library anymore. Idle Cave Miner, is this one free? Yeah, this is a free game. I would not recommend this one. Luton is actually a good game, but my biggest issue with this game is the fact that there are multiple parties. You have multiple parties that you need to control, like right over here. You have 1 party, 2 parties, 3 parties, 4, 5, 6 parties that you can play with, and I don't like that. I really don't like the fact that you have to play with multiple parties. I would recommend Luton, but it's not the best idle game on earth, to be honest. Honestly, out of all of the idle games that I've ever played, you can see here I've reviewed a bunch of them on Steam, but I haven't done videos for these ones yet. Out of all of the idler game that I've ever played, honestly, like I could recommend Luton. That's probably one that I could recommend, but it's not the best game on earth, to be honest. And yeah, otherwise than that, honestly, I cannot think of a single game that I can really recommend that is an idle game. A Farm Tale isn't actually an idle game. It's a game that I would recommend, but it's really not a idler game. I don't know why it is tagged as a idler game, because it really is not an idler game. But anyway, you guys get the point. Honestly, there's not really a lot of idler games that I can recommend, even though I've played around 20 or 25 of them. So the fact that I can actually recommend this game is something that normally I wouldn't do. You know, I'm very picky when it comes to idler games, and this game honestly actually surprised me. When I looked at the screenshots on Steam, it looked like a game that I wouldn't really recommend. But as it turns out, I actually like the game quite a bit. So basically, if I can give you guys an idea of how the game works. So you start out at the very beginning of the game. You have one piece, one thing, and it is your HQ. You start out with literally just this building. I'm going to refer to these as buildings, even though they're not really buildings. There are extraction buildings, production buildings, then there's nodes, which are basically the connections. Difficult to explain. It's basically a connection warehouse. It's like a warehouse, but it allows you to transport resources more quickly. Because the normal connections, like these connections, are limited if they are not connected to a node. So you can send and receive resources faster if they are connected to a node like this. If you are just going to connect your production buildings to another production building, then the speed which the connections are between them are much slower. So it is advisable to put a node before and after your production buildings. Like this one over here is producing green science, as you can see there, and I've put a node building before it and after it. So the node buildings are really quite important at the end of the day. So there's extraction buildings, production buildings, node buildings, and then warehouses. Warehouses simply increase the amount of resources which you can stash. And then there is your HQ, which is like your headquarters. Even though the HQ, you really use at the beginning of the game. It's not really a useful building later in the game. Like right now at the stage of the game that I am currently, I'm not using my HQ at all. Like literally, I am not using my HQ. So the HQ becomes pretty useless later on, but you only have one HQ. So anyway, like I say, you start out with just your HQ. You start out creating stone by clicking. You literally left click. Every time you left click, you can see there, as I click, every time that I click, I am generating stone. And that's how you start out the game. You literally start the game as a clicker game. The game starts out as a clicker game. It doesn't start out as an idler game. And then as you progress and as you build more buildings, basically the buildings are doing the clicking for you. So instead of having to click on the stone, as you need to do at the beginning of the game, the buildings do the stone for do the clicking for you. So this building right now is producing 62 tons of stone per second, whereas normally you would have to click like that. So the game does start out as a clicker game, but pretty soon you transition into being an idler. It's much more of an idler. And right now, I mean, you can look at the amounts here at the side. You would have to click 170,000 times to get that amount of stone, for instance. So yeah, so the game isn't a clicker game. It starts out as a clicker game, but it very quickly becomes a idler game. And there are many logistical challenges that the game gives you. It's almost like a game that has conveyor belts, you know, like RimWorld, Satisfactory, Tectonica, any of those games that have conveyor belts. These things in between are essentially conveyor belts, but they are basically just connections. So you can see over here, this one is transporting 0 per second. This one is transporting 24 per second. This one is varying between 5 and 6 per second. So you can see they are basically conveyor belts. There was the one over here that was doing 1,000 per second. You can see all of these over here are doing 18 per second. So basically, the way the game works is let's take iron for instance. You have a bunch of iron producers over here. All of these buildings are producing 28 iron per second. They have 16 iron miners inside this building. This building can take a maximum of 16 buildings. It's basically 16 producers inside the one building. So this one building has 16, and then this one has 16, this one has 16, this one has 16. So all of these put together have quite a lot. All of these are taking all of their resources into this one building over here. And right now the flow rate is 0 per second. But it can go up to 1,200 per second. So this line, if you follow it, is going over here to this one over here. So that one is going over to this one. And then from here, it is going into this one and this one. And then from here, it is going into these ones, which are doing iron smelting and gear pressing. So it's smelting the iron using coal and iron, as you can see over there, and then it is making iron plates. You can see over here how many iron plates it is producing, 15 ton per second, and how many gears it is producing, 10 per second. So it's making iron plates and it's making gears every second from the iron that we are receiving from all of these iron producers over here. And then the iron plates are going from there, it's going into this warehouse over here. You can see there's a warehouse over here. It's going into the warehouse, and the other one is going into this node over here. And then from this node, it is going into all of these buildings over here. And these buildings are creating steel plates. So, steel, just regular steel. So it's using the iron plates to create steel. And then it's going from here into this node, and then from this node into this warehouse. So that is the general idea of the game. You have to basically connect a whole bunch of producers like this, extraction buildings to producers, and then the producers to your warehouses, or one producer to another producer. You can also do that. So there are some situations over here, for instance, I'm using copper ore. So this is copper ore. The copper ore is going into copper plates. So we are creating copper plates and copper cables using the copper ore. That is going in here to use the copper cables to create green science. So green science requires 12 copper cables and 4 bricks and 2.2 energy per second. And then you get 1 green science. So you can see that you need to have a long line, a long assembly line of buildings in order to create green science. And then after that, you get even more difficult things to create, such as red science. Red science uses gear and energy. And then you also down here get blue science. Blue science requires silicon and Gen 1 chips, and Gen 1 chips requires silicon and copper cables, and silicon requires quartz and coal. So you can see that it is really quite difficult to create blue science. So you get the general idea. You take quartz, the quartz becomes silicon, the silicon becomes chips, and the chips becomes blue science. So the game just becomes more and more and more intricate and more difficult the higher up you go in the production line basically. And if we look at my research over here, the game also has research. You can see that there's still quite a bit of stuff that I need to do. So over here, this is the end of the game. If I actually reach this one over here, which you need red science, green science, blue science, purple science, yellow science, and white science. So I have not even unlocked yellow science or white science yet. So I still need to unlock those two. So I'm a little bit past the halfway mark of the game currently, basically. So you can see my science over there at the top. I currently have about 160,000 of the different sciences. And another really interesting aspect of the game as well. So like you produce all of your resources over here, and then over here, in order to go to the next technology level, I guess I can say, you need to go over here. Now this is like a tower defense mode, basically. You can see here I am currently at level 14. So I've beaten 14 different levels of this tower defense mode, I guess I can say. So basically you need to defend your drill over here. That's basically the way how you go to the next level of the game. So I'm on level 14 right now. So these are towers or turrets. Basically you get different turrets. So if you go over here, you get a normal turret, then you get the turret MK2, then you get a healing turret, a healing splash turret, and a splash turret. So those are all of the different turrets that I have unlocked right now. You can see the cost over here at the bottom. Some of them are very expensive because the more turrets or the more buildings that you build, the higher the cost of that building will be. So some of the turrets become very, very, very expensive. Because as I say, the more you build, the more the cost will become. So I can actually build one of these. So let's build it over here. First I need to open up a little space over there. How do I... Oh. Delete. How do I delete exactly? Delete walls? I've never... Holy shit, no, I didn't want to do that. Oh, delete all walls. Okay, well, I fucked up there. Okay, so I just deleted all of my walls. That is not really what I wanted to do, but okay, we will just have to rebuild the walls, I guess. So we go over here to walls, and then go over here. Did it store them or what? Oh, okay, so it stored them. Okay, so that's actually not too bad. It seems that it stores your walls. It basically stores all of the walls that you built previously. So let's build my walls again. This is MK2 walls, and this is MK1 wall. So we're gonna build MK2 walls because they are 3 times as powerful, 3 times as resilient as the normal wall. But they are also quite expensive, to be honest. But anyway, we're gonna build a bunch. You can see over here to the left, my brick is going down very quickly because this costs 2,400 for each single block. So we're gonna build walls all around here. And there we go. So now my place is protected with MK2 walls, except for this little space over here. That's gonna trigger me, so let's just do that. And then we will just make this MK2 walls as well. And then let's see, do I want to build another turret? I don't have enough to build an... Well, yes, I actually do have enough to build one of these turrets. So let's build a turret over here. Oh, what do I need? Okay, apparently I don't have the correct stuff. I'm not sure. Missing hafnium plate. Okay, apparently I don't have that specific plate type. Can I build one of these? Yes, it looks like I can. So these turrets and the walls as well become very, 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 very expensive the longer you... the more you build. Basically, the more you build, the more expensive a specific building becomes. Not just the turrets, but all of the buildings overall. So then we just start the next level by clicking over here, and a whole bunch of bugs come out of nowhere. And now it's basically a tower defense. The game basically is turned into a tower defense, but it's just temporarily. Basically, the game spawns a whole bunch of these bugs until this green bar at the top of your screen is filled up. And then if you have survived the round, if you have survived the onslaught, then you progress to the next level of technology, essentially. So this one should be pretty easy to withstand. There we go. Success, and our reward is increased minimum yield to 35%. So that means that the minimum yield of all of our resources, so all of the resources that we are producing, the minimum yield has now increased to 35%. So we are now basically producing more resources and more quickly. So that's basically obviously beneficial to our entire setup, and it affects all of our buildings at once. So then if we want to attempt to do the next level, we just need to rebuild all of our walls quickly. You can also increase the size of your floor by going over here, going to floor, and then you can increase it like this. But I want to keep it this size. I can make it as big as I want, but I want to keep it this size currently because this size is fine. This size works pretty well for my purposes, basically. So the next level, we will actually unlock a new resource, which we don't have access to currently, which is graphene and graphite. So we can try it. I think we should hopefully be able to beat the next level without any real issues. So let's try that. Let's try the next level as well. If we don't make it, I will just abort. You can just click over here and click abort before losing your turrets, because it's okay to lose some of your walls. You know, the walls aren't that bad, but you definitely don't want to lose any of your turrets, because your turrets cost quite a lot. So if I see we are gonna lose badly, then I will just click abort fight. But we should be able to do this one, I think. That one is very powerful. That monster over there is very, very powerful, but as long as we focus him down, we shouldn't have any real issues. And yeah, it seems like we're gonna be able to beat this one as well. Yeah, that was actually pretty easy. And now we have level 16 and we've unlocked graphene and graphite. And then you can see if we can even try the next one as well, which will unlock 100% more yield, increase the game speed to 6. By the way, we are currently running at 5 speed. You actually start the game out at 1 speed. So obviously, the more speed that you have, the less time you need to wait to get resources, because you're literally speeding through the game faster on the higher speed levels. So unlocking 6 will be nice, and then that one increases minimum yield to 40%, and this one unlocks hafnium ore and hafnium plate. So that is this this other one. Where was it? Was it this one? Yes. So the turret MK2 requires the hafnium plate, which I don't have access to currently because I need hafnium ore and hafnium plate. So now we have unlocked 2 new resources, so we can go back to our building, essentially. I see the tutorial is a little bit behind. The tutorial is asking us to deliver iron plates to the headquarters, which isn't really even necessary, to be completely honest, but we can do that just for the purposes of actually getting through the tutorial part over here. That one actually is going back, I think. Where's this one going? Yeah, it's looking like it's going back over there. So I want iron. Can do this one over here, so I'm gonna remove this one. No, actually I don't even need to do that. So the way that you create new connections between all of the different buildings is you just click and drag. So you click from here, we want iron plates, click from here and then drag over there. And then there you can see we completed that part of the tutorial. And then the next tutorial is quick create a parcel. You can quickly create a parcel by dragging a new connection into empty space. Oh, okay, so you can just basically do this, and then you can create a new node, for instance, if you want to. So you just click there, and then the node, you just click there. So that's easy. So you just create a new node right there. We can delete that one because I don't need it. So the tutorial basically has little video guides and that kind of stuff, but honestly I've moved past all of these tutorials. I just basically at one stage in the game realized that the tutorials aren't really that good anymore. I've basically progressed past the tutorials by just playing the game, so I don't care about the tutorials that much anymore. So now we have 2 new resources. So as you can see, this is my entire production setup currently. So what I'm gonna do is here at the bottom, I'm gonna create a new setup with the new resource that we have. So you double click and then you say extraction, and then you select this extraction building. And then what we are looking for is graphite. So here we go, graphite miner. So we can basically select 16 of those by clicking 16 times. And then you can see there we are creating 48 tons of graphite per second. Then the next thing that we are going to do is a graphene lab. The graphene lab. So first, what I usually do is I create enough production. So we take this one, we are gonna Control C, Control V, so Control C, Control V, there it is, Control V once again, there's another one. So you can see that you can Control C, Control V entire areas of your base. Like if you want more sulfur, for instance, this is my sulfur production. If you want more sulfur, you can literally just go like this and Control C, Control V this entire area if you really want to. So the production and the building the building of the game is really nice, really quick. So if I want more graphene or graphite, whatever, you just select that, you Control C, Control V, and there we go. We have more of those buildings. And as you can see here at the bottom right, the game has a building system where one building can be built every second. So as this building is being built, you can see over there it's being filled up. You can see there it's being filled up one every second. So that is how the building system works. It's not instantaneous. You basically get 1 per second. Actually, at the beginning it's 1 per second. Right now, because I did an upgrade, it is 2 per second. So you can see over there at the bottom, 2 per second you can actually do. So if I want to create more, how much is this going to cost me? Okay, so it's going to cost 130,000 bricks for these 6 new ones, and then 85,000 steel plates. So I do get about 500 bricks per second. You can see there at the left, about 500 bricks per second that I'm getting. So if I do this, it will cost quite a lot, but I will be able to get it back. Let's just quickly have a look. So over here, I'm going to do a node, because as I said, you really want all of your production buildings to go into a node, and then from a node into the other buildings. So then we're going to drag all of these connections over there. We're going to select graphite, and then this as well, graphite. Basically, you connect all of your production buildings to the node, and then I want the graphite to go into the nearest the nearest storage warehouse. So that storage warehouse has 8 connections already. The maximum connections that you can put on a warehouse is 8. So that warehouse is already stacked up. Let's see, where's another warehouse? Okay, I have a bunch of empty warehouses over here. So let's bring a warehouse over here. You put one warehouse over here, and then you take this connection and you put it inside the warehouse for graphite. And there we go. Now we are collecting graphite. You can see over here we are getting quite a bit of graphite, and we are getting currently we are getting 288 graphite per second. So that is what we are producing with these 6 buildings currently. So we can create more. We just do this, Control C, Control V, and there we go. We have 6 more graphite buildings. So we just doubled our production. As you can see over here on the right side, those 80 tasks are being built currently. So then we just once again click and drag, add them to the node over there. And then the next step will be to convert the graphite into graphene. So then we go over here. We can do extraction building, or we can do production building. Let me just quickly have a look what we are going to need. So for a graphene lab, we can actually do a production build, extraction building, not a, no, we can't do a extraction building actually. The issue with the extraction building is it can only have one connection. So extraction building actually gets a bonus. If we look over here, extraction building gets 150% output bonus, which the production building does not get. So extraction building can produce 150% faster than what a production building can, but the issue with the extraction building is that it cannot have an input. It can only have an output. It only can have one output. So you cannot produce very intricate resources using an extraction building. So that is one thing that you always need to remember. You cannot make everything with an extraction building. You can only make certain things with the extraction building. So I wonder, should I actually do let's see how much I can make. So if I do extraction building, we're gonna need coal, so let's add 2 coal miners, and then graphene, and then graphene lab. So what we are looking at over here is to balance these numbers over here, but we only have 16 buildings that we can use. So if we add one more, you can see the graphene the graphite becoming less. Oh, it uses coal ash. Actually, it uses coal ash, so it doesn't use coal, it uses coal ash. That actually changes things. So the best way to get coal ash, where is that other building? Coal combustor. So that creates 0.5 coal ash per second, whereas a coal plant creates 0.1 coal per second. So yeah, a coal ash producer is much better, but that requires 4 coal. So we need 1, 2, 3, and then it is producing. Yeah, you see that it's not really very easy to produce a lot of graphene inside this building, because this building only has 16 slots. So if I look at it, basically you can only really have 3 graphene labs before all of your coal ash is used up. And then we have enough of that. Just trying to balance it exactly to see how much we can get out of this. Just bear with me, I'm just looking at the numbers over here. So basically, the best we can really do out of these 16 buildings is to create 4 tons of graphene per second, which is literally 4 buildings. So basically, to put it bluntly, you need 12 buildings to support these 4 graphene labs. So it's not really very effective. You need 12 buildings to support 4 buildings. So that is why I'm not going to use an extraction building for the graphene. I will rather use a production building for the graphene. So it's going to be much easier to just use a production building instead of a extraction building. So there we have 12 connected to this node, and then over here we're going to put a production building. So we will not be getting the 180% bonus on the production building, but the good thing about production buildings is that you get 32 building slots that you can use. So that is obviously quite a big difference. It's double the amount that you can get out of a production building versus a extraction building, but the extraction building has the benefit of having the added 150 multiplier. So over here we're gonna need a lot of coal ash. I do have a coal ash producer over here somewhere. Let me just quickly see. There's a little bit of coal ash over there. Just trying to see where my coal ash is. It's around here somewhere. I just need to find it. I'm looking at the little icons. Basically, that's what you need to look at. You need to spot the little icons. Unfortunately, the game doesn't have like a search function. It would have been nice if the game just had a search function where you could like Control F or something like that to find a specific resource, or to perhaps have a specific resource highlighted, and then it's just much easier to find that specific resource. Okay, over here, coal ash. Okay, so these are creating 0.5 coal ash per second, and they are going in here. So this, okay, and then they're going in here. So this will be my coal ash production, basically. I'm not sure if everything is being used up over here. Coal ash. Yes, all of my coal ash is currently being used, so I actually need more coal ash. I'm not producing enough coal ash currently, so we definitely need to do something about that. So let's quickly sort out my coal ash production. So we are going to add it over here. Yeah, so this is having a lot of power plants collected, and then it's creating 1.3 tons of coal ash per second. So this creates a lot of power and a lot of coal ash. How much will this cost? Holy shit. Okay, that's very, very expensive. I don't really want to do that, even though it will generate a lot of power. How's our power looking? Okay, so we're about halfway. We're using about half of our power currently. So we don't really have any power issues currently. So I'm rather just gonna create coal ash. Like, let me just see. Yeah, we're gonna do it over here. So over here, we're gonna put down extraction. We're gonna do a couple of coal combustors. We're gonna do a couple of coal miners. Okay, so that's basically the best I can do. It creates 1.5 tons of coal ash. Yes, that's not too bad. These ones are creating 1.3 tons of coal ash. So actually these ones, which have the added power plant, are actually creating almost as much coal ash, but the benefit that these ones have is that they're creating a lot of power actually. So I'm not going to create too many of these. They are good because I haven't built a lot of them yet, so these ones are very expensive because I've built a lot of them. So these ones can be mass produced basically for relatively cheaply, because as I already said, the more buildings that you have of a specific type, the more expensive it becomes. So you can see here, this isn't so expensive. It's pretty expensive since it's just 3 buildings, but it's not like massively expensive. So I can build that, and then I'm gonna build another row over here. That's 130,000. So we can put those over here. And that should give us a nice boost to our coal ash total. So these ones I'm gonna output over here. Coal ash. So we take all of this coal ash, we put it in there. And then we're gonna take the coal ash from here and input it in there. Yes, we can input it in there. So we are just getting an excess amount of coal ash so that we aren't so lacking with our coal ash, and then after that we can continue with the graphene down there. I also need bricks. I see we are low on bricks, so we're gonna need a lot of bricks. We're gonna really need to ramp up our bricks production. So the issue here currently seems like we don't really have enough coal. So maybe I can take away 1 kiln and add 1 coal. Or we can just feed these with coal. We can also do that. I think that will be better. Where's my coal production? It's over here. No, that's coal ash. Coal over here. Coal, so that is going over there. The other one is going over here. And then this one, we need to go up there. So we're gonna go from here, we're gonna put the extra node over here. We're gonna take the coal from here over there. So the coal flowing through here currently is only 50 tons, but we are actually producing way more. We're producing several hundred tons of coal, so we're not using up all of our coal. So we can literally from here give all of these over here coal. That will drastically increase our brick production, because bricks are really important for 90% of the different buildings that you have in the game. So yeah, now we are creating a lot more bricks because these buildings aren't so starved of coal anymore. So that's pretty good. So now our brick production should go up much faster. Yeah, that's all of them. We can add more if we want to. I think we might actually want to do that, just because brick production is very important. So we provide it with stone from over here and coal from over here. And then the bricks are gonna go out here in there. Okay, so that should be fine. We're getting a lot more bricks now. We were busy with the coal ash. Where was it? Was it over here? Yes. Okay, there's an issue over here. What's the issue? Why didn't you build complete? So I want 13 coal miners and 3 coal combustors. For some reason this one got stuck. Okay, there we go. Now all of them should be fine. So we're producing a lot more coal ash now. And then I want more of these ones as well, because these ones are really nice. They produce coal ash and they produce a lot of power. We're gonna build another row of these. Boom, just like that. It's gonna take quite some time to build because these cost a lot of money. And I'm gonna add those over here probably. Okay, so now our coal ash production has increased substantially. So then what we want to do is we want to bring the coal ash down here. So we're gonna add a node over here for the coal ash, and then we're gonna bring the coal ash all the way down there. Actually, the way how you do that is you need to put the node where you want it, and then you can drag the node after the connection has been made. Not a very nice way of doing it, but honestly it's the only way that I've seen how to do these connections. Let's do it from here. So now the coal ash is coming from there in here. And then from here, it's gonna go into all of these over here, the graphene producers. So this just requires a bunch of graphite and then coal ash, so we can make this one be just basically completely graphene. 32 output, that should be fine. We're gonna put another node over here. We're gonna take the coal ash in there, and then the graphite goes in here. And we actually need to put another node over here because that node is gonna be overwhelmed. So you go in there, create a little bit of space, and then go in there, right, and then from here in there, graphene, and it's creating 32 per second. So the maximum that you can output from a node is actually 32 per second. So this is creating 32 per second. So that's actually perfect. It is creating the maximum amount that it can output actually. So that's good. And then we input the graphene over there. So now we actually have graphene and graphite. So that's good. So we need copper plates. I only have 2,000 copper plates, so perhaps we should think about increasing my copper plate production. But before we do that, let's build 2 more of these, I think. Holy crap, it's expensive. Why is it so expensive? That is hilarious. Why is it so hilariously expensive? Is that just what it costs? Because holy balls. How much does one cost? 5,000 and then 5,000. So why is it so expensive? Does it really cost? Oh yeah, you can see there my brick. So it costs 5,000 for each. So when you build 32 of them, that's gonna cost 160,000. So yeah, that does cost substantial amount actually. Yeah, that's very, very expensive. 5,000 each. So it's good that I increased my brick production, but now we are also encountering shortages of steel. I also need steel. Okay, so that one will continue to build. We just need more steel. So now we are producing basically 64 graphene per second. I'm not sure what we're gonna do with the graphene yet. We will just basically have to see. Okay, so that's done. That's done. I want to increase my steel production. My steel production is way up here. So currently I am producing 14 tons, but we need more iron. Well, we need a little bit more iron. We actually need more iron plates. We don't need iron, we need iron plates. But the problem is I'm not getting enough iron plates, really. Or am I? No, I'm not getting enough iron plates. So we need to ramp my iron plate production up. Yeah, you can see if this number is 0, that means that you don't really have enough iron plates. So you definitely need to ramp up the production. So we're gonna need to build quite a bit more of them. So how much will this cost? Okay, 52 and 50, that's not incredibly expensive. We can do that. Like that. Just want to see where is the main hub for the iron. It's basically over here. So I need to create another hub over here, or another node at least. And I'm gonna remove one of these. Take it over there. Take this one over there. Then from this one it's gonna go over there. And then from this one it's gonna go into all of these. And then from there it's going to go into this one, but let's create another one over here. There really are a lot of connections and stuff that you need to always be mindful of in this game. You need to remember which buildings are connected, which buildings are not connected, what is the input, what is the output, do you have enough input, do you have enough output. You need to think downstream, are you gonna need more iron? Are there any bottlenecks in your production line? Like, are there any issues in your production line? Like, there's really a lot of stuff that you need to be mindful of and keep in mind, because like now my steel production is a massive bottleneck and I can't even build this building completely because I need 5,000 steel. So clearly all of my resources are doing very well. As you can see, they're doing very, very well, except steel. I am so starved for steel right now. So I need to look at my steel, and then you can see, oh well, now it looks like I have enough. Is this a steel? No, that's a gear production. The steel production is over here. It looks like I have enough coal. My coal is staying still, which is good, but you can see that I don't have enough iron plates, and iron as well, but iron plates is the main ingredient in here. So then you need to look at the node, this node over here, which is your steel plate node. Once again, over here, 0 quantity. So there are not enough iron plates. So that one is coming from here, and that means this one over here is also not enough. It's not showing enough. It's showing 200 per second, but the output is 200 per second as well. So this number should be 1200 like this one is. So we need to, once again, like these couple of buildings that I added over here is not enough. We need more. So we can just literally take these, duplicate them again. It's going to cost 58,000 and 54,000, which we do have. So we can do that once again. I'm just going to move this one backwards a little bit because I don't want to build too high. So we can just, let's take 8 of them instead of 6 of them. Actually 10, that's 10 in total. So let's take 10 of them. Boom, we put them over here. Just space them like that, a little bit of space. Because clearly we do not have anywhere close to enough iron plates going into our steel production, because our steel production is currently only outputting 3.5 per second, and it should be outputting 14 per second. So we aren't even outputting half as much as we actually need to be outputting. So we really need to ramp up our steel plate or our iron plate production. So once again, we just do this, connect all of them to the iron ore. And then we are gonna output all of these to this node over here. And yeah, that's really the name of the game. Like I said, it's really like a game that you really have to keep in mind your production, your input, your output, what is happening downstream, what is happening upstream, your producers, your consumers, all of that kind of stuff. So it is an idle game, but it's an idle game that really, for the most part, you cannot just sit idly by. You really need to work on your production line pretty much constantly. Like, honestly, in the probably 4 hours, but now that I've played the game, you really need to pretty much constantly maintain and look at your production line and move stuff around and all of that kind of stuff, you know. So it is a idle game by definition, but really you cannot just sit idly by. You really need to work on your assembly line and your production line. Otherwise you are not going to make progress really at all, because especially when you have a new resource that you have unlocked, you then need to basically not only add to the beginning of your assembly line, as I did over here with the graphene and graphite that I've added now. I've had to add at the beginning of my production line, but also this graphite, or graphene at least, if you look at the production, there are going to be stuff that require graphene. So currently you can see over there, low deposition chamber. So the low deposition chamber is going to require graphene, and also silicon dioxide, which I already have. I am creating silicon dioxide. Where is it? Here I'm creating silicon dioxide. So now I need to put down a production building, then I need to feed it with silicon dioxide and the graphene from down here, and then we get the low deposition chamber. And then the low deposition chamber is going to go into something else. I don't know what it's going to go into. There it is, Gen 3 chip. So the Gen 3 chip is then gonna use the low deposition chamber stuff in there, and then copper cables, aluminium, phenolic resin, all of that kind of stuff. So the game really does become really complicated eventually. Like at the beginning of the game, you only need to buy about 1 or 2 resources, and then it becomes 3 or 4 resources, and then here at the point of the game where I am currently, you need to fucking add 5 different resources into a single building just to create a single resource. So yeah, the game just becomes more and more complicated and intricate, but that's really the appeal of these types of assembly line type games. So like I said at the very beginning, I actually like the game. Honestly, I just want to move forward. I just want to unlock better technology. I look forward to unlocking the hafnium ore and the hafnium plate in a couple of levels. I just need to build more turrets. Every new turret increases the price of the previous turret, so you really need to stack up a whole bunch of resources, because things just get more and more expensive. And yeah, you need to expand your assembly line constantly. As I said at the beginning of the game, you only have one building, and now look where I am. And I'm sure by the end of the game, this is probably gonna double once again. I'm gonna have a base that's even more intricate than the one that I currently have. So it's really a game for, I would almost say, the thinking man or the thinking girl. You really need to think a lot. You need to maintain your conveyor belts, your connections. You need to think, okay, where is a bottleneck? Where am I lacking? Do I need more copper? Do I need more iron? Do I need more ash? Do I need more iron plates? You know, all of that kind of stuff. Because if you don't provide enough resources to the downstream, then when you start to produce things like this, for instance, or like the low deposition chamber stuff or the Gen 3 chips, then you're gonna run into a situation where you're not getting enough copper cables like over there, or you're not getting enough aluminium, or you're not getting enough phenolic resin, because the phenolic resin and the aluminium are really difficult to produce already. So if your aluminium situation and your phenolic resin situation is not done correctly, then you're going to be producing Gen 3 chips very, very slowly. And then that just means you're going to be progressing in the game very, very slowly. So yeah, that's really the name of the game, and I actually enjoy it. I don't usually enjoy these types of games. I do enjoy games like Satisfactory. Obviously, I've played a lot of Satisfactory on my channel. I've played a lot of Planet Crafter on my channel. Oh, I haven't even connected these buildings yet. I've played a lot of Tectonica on my channel. All of those games are conveyor belt games and use conveyor belts to achieve certain goals. So but this game is, I don't think this game would appeal to the average Tectonica player, to be honest. But yeah, I like it, or to the average Satisfactory player for that matter. But I like it, and yeah, I can recommend the game for I think I said $9 at the beginning of the game. For $9, I've already gotten several hours of gameplay and actual enjoyment out of the game. And yeah, I look forward to seeing what else I can unlock further down the line. As I said, I haven't yet unlocked the yellow science or the white science yet, so I still have a fair bit to unlock in the game. This is all of the stuff that I've already unlocked in the game over here. You can see quite a few things. So, and the game is still in early access, so the game will still have new content added. You can see over here, the game will still have new content added. So I can already recommend the game, and honestly the game can just become better and better because the developers will obviously hopefully add more content to the game, allow you to go deeper, further, and just expand even more on the already pretty good core gameplay loop. In my opinion, the core gameplay loop is pretty enjoyable in my opinion. It sucks that there's no music, it sucks that the game has absolutely no music, but I mean, you can just do what I do and listen to a podcast in the background or play your favorite music in the background, anything like that. So yeah, that is pretty much it, guys. As always, if you want to support the channel, you can head over to patreon.com/LFP. Your support on there allows me to purchase more games and do more reviews for you guys. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.